Hello class, today we're going to talk about perimeter and circumference. So it is a PowerPoint, so let me get this set up for you. Okay, so our warm-up today is pretty simple. Okay, so what I want you to try to remember to do on this particular thing is, what do I do in order to add and subtract decimals? Because you are going to need that skill a little bit later on. So if I wanted to do this first question, what is it that I'm going to do? Okay, hopefully what you remember is that if I have decimals, I'm just going to line up my decimals. So in this first problem, we'll do 8.2, 5.6, 8.2, and 5.6 again, and we just add them together. So we do 6 and 2 make 8, plus 6 make 14, plus 2 more make 16. So I carry the 1, I write the 6 down, I bring the decimal down. Then we got 8 and 5, which make 13, plus another 5 makes 18, plus another 8 makes 26. Is that right? Yeah, 26. Plus 1 gives you 27. So we end up with 27.16. So I need you to remember that if we are adding decimals, we just line up our decimals. But what if I have a question like number 3 here? What do I do if we are multiplying decimals? Okay, well, you got to remember, if we're multiplying decimals, what you will do is you will take the longer number and you will put it on top. You take the shorter number, put it underneath. Pretend the decimals aren't even there, and multiply. So we multiply just like a regular 3-digit times a 2-digit. So we would do 4 times 2 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, add a 0, and then we begin on the next number. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. And then we add those together. 8 and 0 make 8, 8 and 2 make 10. 6, 2, and 1 make 9. Bring the 6 down. To determine the number of where the decimal goes in the problem, we count how many decimals or how many numbers are behind the decimal in my problem. So I've got 2 numbers behind the decimal here, 0 numbers behind the decimal in this one, so I need 2 total. So we end up with 69.08. You will need to be able to do both of those skills in this lesson today. Okay, so first thing we're looking at is, how do I find perimeter and circumference, or what is perimeter and circumference? So that'll be the first thing that we define. So for perimeter, okay, perimeter is nothing but the distance around a geometric figure. Okay, it's the distance around it. Many people think that it's the area around it. It's not the area around. It is the distance around the geometric figure. So to find perimeter of a polygon, and we represent perimeter with a capital P, you can just add the lengths of the sides together. All you have to do to find perimeter. So if I were to give you this particular triangle, we've got 3 sides of the triangle. We know one of them is 25, the other one's 25, and the third one is 15. So to find the perimeter, we just add the 3 numbers together. 25 plus 25 plus 15. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus another 1 is 6. So we end up with 65. But what we have to remember is we do have to put a label on this answer, because that 65, it could be 65 feet, it could be 65 miles, but in this case it's 65 centimeters. Okay, so on this particular problem, please pause the problem and answer this one yourself. Okay, so let's see how you did. Okay, so this one you should have taken the 3 sides, added them together. 25 plus 20 plus 30. 5, 0, and 0 make 5. 2, 2, and 3 make, 5, 6, 7. And again, it is centimeters. So all you have to do again to find perimeter is just add the side lengths together, no matter what the numbers are. Okay, whether if they're decimals, you line up your decimals. If they're fractions, you find common denominators, or you change the fraction to a decimal. That's all you got to do, right? What if I gave you a rectangle like this instead of a triangle, and I only gave you 2 of the sides? Well, what do we know about a rectangle? Well, I hope what you know is that if this side here is 14, so is the other side. Okay, so it's 14. If this bottom is 18, the opposite side is also 18. So we just add these together. So you would do 14 and 14, 18 and 18, and add those together. So you get 8 and 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You end up with 64 feet. Simple as that. Okay, so what if, though, we have a circle? Okay, perimeter is one thing. Perimeter is the distance around a polygon. Well, we also have the distance around a shape called a circle, but we don't call it a perimeter because it's not a polygon. So the distance around a circle is called a circumference. Okay, and we do the same exact thing, but this one we have a formula for. It says for every circle, the ratio of the circumference C, which is represented by that capital C, to the diameter is the same. This ratio is C divided by D. It's represented by a Greek letter called pi. Okay, this one right here. Pi is approximately equal to 3.14 or 22 over 7. Okay, so either one, if you were to type 22 divided by 7 into the calculator, the first 3 digits of that value is going to be 3.14. And then by solving the equation, C divided by D is equal to pi for C, okay, you get the formula for circumference. And the formula for circumference is either C equals pi D or C equals 2 pi R. So we need to understand what this D and this R represent. And that's what we need to talk about. Okay, so in a circle, we've got 2 extremely important pieces that we need to understand. Okay, we have this distance that goes all the way across the circle that passes through the center. That is called a diameter. Okay, we've got this other distance that is from the center point to the circle, and that's called the radius. So this diameter is made of 2 radii. And so that's where we get our 2 formulas from. We can find circumference by doing pi times diameter, 3.14 times the distance all the way across the circle, or we can take 2 pi r because this 2 and this r represent 1d. Okay, 2 radii make a diameter. So you can use either one of the formulas depending upon what information is given. Now for me personally, I only use one formula. I use circumference is equal to pi times diameter. We'll learn why a little bit later on. Okay, so here we have a problem. It says find the circumference of the circle to the nearest tenth. Use 3.1 for pi. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we look at our circle here and we find out what information is given. Well, we know the distance all the way across the circle, which is a diameter, is 12. So if I want to find circumference, I'm going to first write the formula down. Circumference is equal to pi times diameter. Okay, and then I'm just going to plug in my values. C is equal to, well, pi, we use 3.14 for that, times the diameter of the circle. And I know the diameter is 12. So this goes back to that warm-up question that we were working. How do I multiply decimals? Well, you take the longer of the 2 numbers, you write it down. You take the 12 and you write it as though there's no decimal there. So the 12 just goes underneath the 14. So now when we multiply, we just multiply. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. We move over a space, so we add a 0. So 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3, and then we add. 8 and 0 make 8, 4 and 2 make 6, 6 and 1 make 7, and then we bring the 3 down. I have 2 numbers to the right of my decimal in my problem, so I should have 2 numbers to the right of my decimal in my answer. Now this problem says round to the nearest tenth, but my decimal goes all the way out to the hundredths place. So I look at this 8. If that number right here in the hundredths place is 5 or more, I make this 6 one more. So the answer to my problem, C, is going to be equal to 37.6, and in this case, inches. And it's just inches because it's just a distance. So I'd like for you to try one on your own. Pause the video and answer this question. Okay, let's see how you did. Step number 1, write the formula. Circumference is equal to pi d. Okay? So then I plug in my values. C is equal to, well, pi is 3.14 times, and now I like the diameter one. So over here I know that this distance is a radius, and the radius is 18. But to find the diameter, I need to know all the way across. So that means I need 2 18s. So the diameter is 36. Okay, so it's 2 of the 18s. Okay, because originally this was 18, so this over here is 18 as well. Okay, you can't tell that that was just the radius because I drew on it there, but it was just the radius. So now in order to find circumference, we just multiply these 2 numbers together. 3.14 times 36, so 24, 6, 7, 8, 18. Add a 0, 12, 3, 4, and 9. So 4, 10, 12, 13, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I've got 2 places. So 113.04, but again, it says round to the nearest tenth. So my circumference is going to be 113 point. Now, is this 4 big enough to do anything to the 0? No, it's not. So it's 113.0 centimeters. And that's how we find perimeter and circumference. Now, for the remainder of class, I'd like for you to work on a little assignment. And here's the assignment I'd like for you to look at. Okay, so you'll notice that we've got several figures here that I just want you to find the perimeter of. So, perimeter again, what is it? It's the sum of all the sides. So on number 1, you're just going to add up these sides and write the answer with its correct label. Same thing for 2 and for 3. But when you look down at number 5 and number 6, okay, you look, we've got some different numbers. Okay, so you got to remember, just line up your decimals and add. Okay, then you're also going to find circumference. Okay, so in circumference, we're using the formula C is equal to pi times diameter. Okay, so in this first one, you're given a diameter and it works fine. But the second one, you're only given a radius. So what are we going to have to do? We need to double that in order to find the diameter. Okay, and number 9, we're given the diameter as well. Now on number 10, 11, and 12, it says use 22/7 for pi. What I want you to do is just use 3.14. Use 3.14 on each question. So for the remainder of class, what I'd like for you to do is work on this assignment. So get the assignment from the substitute and begin working. At the end of class, we will take up the assignment, finished or not.